Do you
thought
feel like you can do it, or do you
yeah,
need
I
me to
can
do
do
it
it this time. I was nervous.
Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Chris. And today, let's just go on a cruise. Today, specifically, we're talking about Virgin Voyages. Are they your favorite cruise, Kayla?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know why? Because there's no damn kids.
Oh my gosh. So that is, in a previous episode, we've learned Kayla's disdain. But no, really, that is one of the greatest pieces, right? I mean, we in being there and really just either connecting with friends or a significant other, but also honestly, I've been on a Virgin Voyage solo, right? And can talk a little bit about that experience. And there's a lot of ways to experience a Virgin Voyage as well. You know, even maybe staying in a rock star suite, which I know you can talk a little bit more about. Anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Virgin Voyages, I'm not going to say it's for everyone, but I would say it's for a lot of people. It is not your typical cruise experience, which I think is a really big selling point, honestly. It's a very diverse group of ages, right? Like I've done 2 itineraries. The one that I did to Puerto Plata was younger, and then I also have done through Greece, and it was a much older crowd. So don't think that you're too young or too old to go on Virgin Voyages. As long as you're over the age of 18, you're set. If you're actually, I think it's like, isn't it 21? It's 21 unless you're like married. Like if you're like under the age of 21 and you're married to someone else under the age of 21 or something, like there's weird like stipulations that'll allow you to go if you're 18, but realistically it's 21. Anyways, that's irrelevant. My point is, no matter the age that you are, like some cruise lines, you're going to be surrounded by children. Disney, I'm looking at you. Some cruise lines, you're going to be surrounded by the elderly. Looking at you, Holland America. But, you know, there's a diversity amongst Virgin. There are things like drag queens on the ship. So, like, if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe it's not for you. There used to be a sex show on the cruise. I don't know. Was there one on when you were there like 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
No, the sex show's gone.
But that's the kind of stuff and you don't have to go to these things. You don't have to engage with the drag queen. You don't have to go to the sex show.
Do you know what I did though? I tried to create my own sex show, but it was frowned upon. Just kidding. For legal reasons, I'm totally kidding.
That seems very on brand for you though. That does seem like something you would do. But you were on a cruise 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, right after, not too long ago, less than that, 2 weeks ago. And it was really great. So I had been on the first Virgin Voyage cruise I went on solo. I mentioned that, right? And they have a ton of activities for solo travelers. So if you are thinking about going on a cruise and you're not, or you're having those friends or family that are just not going or pulling the trigger, do it and go on a Virgin Voyage, because really so many activities to get you connected with other sailors, and really to even the before, right? If you join one of the Facebook groups, you can kind of connect with people. But this most recently, we went on with friends, and it was a really great experience as well. I always call it the best classy adult spring break you didn't know you needed, right? And so, I mean, I have kids, right? We talked about, and it's not maybe the Carnival cruise experience, right? You're not getting like crazy blaring music at the pool where they're doing a wet t-shirt contest like on Royal or Carnival, and which are fun. Don't get me wrong.
You love a wet t-shirt contest?
I do
You'd like
love
to
a wet.
participate in the wet t-shirt contest?
I do. Yes. The belly flop contest, all of those kind of crazier things, right? And that's why I kind of said it was that classy adult spring break, right? Now, again, I can watch a I can watch a belly flop contest for every day, but you're not going to see that on Virgin, which I think is really that higher level. Like it's a more refined but yet very casual type experience, right? I was joking. We watched on this past cruise. It was a 5-night itinerary, and we went to the Dominican Republic and then to Bimini, and I think we watched 2 movies like in our stateroom, right? Which normally you wouldn't do, but it's exactly what you need, right? There is that time where you just need to kind of decompress, and sometimes on other cruise lines it's one thing after another, after another, after another, right?
They also just have good movies on Virgin. Like honestly, I was told by some people that work on the ship that like as crew members, they have access to the same like entertainment, like in terms of movies and TV shows and things. So I feel like they're trying to keep it fresh and like relevant for their crew, but they've got good stuff that you can watch on their TVs. So I don't blame you guys for watching 2 movies.
No, see. I
Yeah.
think we even watched one of them in chunks, like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But and I think we did, like I said, we went to Bimini, their private beach club. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I love that as well. But when it's adult only, you can do things very differently, right? Like, for example, in one of their in the social club, they have sweets and treats out, right? A bowl of Swedish fish that you can just go up and get a bag of. Someone serves you, right? But clearly you could not have that on a cruise with children because they would dominate it. I also dominated it.
I also dominated.
Yeah, there was an excessive amount of red dye number 5 consumed, which was great for my ADHD. But
it's it's on the walk to your room. Like you can't. The thing about the location of the social club is that it is, I would say, smack in the middle of everything, right? Like you're usually walking by, at least I usually stay in an aft room. Like I prefer being towards the back of the ship, and it's towards the back of the ship. So for me, if I'm coming from anywhere, I'm walking past there. And if there's someone standing there and there are the containers of candy, I'm going to get some. It's included in my fare. I will be eating my weight in Swedish fish and gummy bears. Like that's just what's going to happen.
And anyone's weight should go up on a cruise.
Right. If it's not, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Between that and the pizza.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll talk about food later. It's fine.
Talk dirty to me, but mention the pizza. And the other part though, you don't have to be at those activities 90 minutes early like you do on the other cruise lines, because again, it's that casual, like no one's rushing to get their 4-year-old the best seat in the house 4 hours later, laying out their blankets, taking pool towels, and then grandma's there yelling at you as you try to sit. Like none of that is happening, right? And you don't realize you're missing it, but because you and I travel a lot, you're like, oh, like when that's gone, it just so I love cruises, love them, but sometimes it stresses me out there. Like, okay, well, what's next? And what are we getting to? We're going to be late. Does that overlap this? Right. And you don't have that on the Virgin cruise. The pool chairs don't fill up at 6 a.m. because people are still sleeping, right? They're sleeping in, and if they're not,
they've been up since 2, or
yeah.
they were up till 2.
Yeah, right. Or maybe you're up early, like doing the included
fitness classes.
Right. I did walk by them on my way.
Yeah, I've signed up for them in good faith, and then I have a hard time working out on vacation. I want to.
I did do the treadmill and then the track outside.
Yeah, those are the things I do on vacation.
But it was windy, and then a man with
it was windy on a cruise? I don't believe that for a second.
I was looking for excuses. And then a man with an Iron Man not an Iron Man. Yeah, an Iron Man tattoo passed me, and I was like, oh, you like actually really work out.
You say Iron Man, and I think of like
I thought of Marvel,
superhero, but you mean Iron Man, like this super intense, like marathon.
Yeah, like that man like chose to run a full marathon, swim a lot, and then bike a lot.
Good for him.
You know what?
But that's okay. But that's another point that I was making about how it's really for everyone. Like if you want to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning, there's stuff for you to do. If you want to wake up at 6 a.m. and go do yoga, that's also an option for you. Like Virgin really is, they want to make sure that you're getting what you want out of your experience on the ship. And like there's a juice bar, like you can go get like healthy juices, or you can be like Chris and I and go eat your weight in candy. Like you have the option. Maybe one day you want to go have the juice and do yoga, and maybe the next day you want to party all night long, eat all the candy, drink all the drinks, and then sleep in. Like you have the variety. You can be whoever you want to be whenever you want to be them.
You can, which actually brings, me to one of the other points. Virgin is very inclusive in all that they do, including their shows, right? They do some gender bending in terms of some of the the shows that they have, which are incredible. They are, I believe, put on by a third party, but a lot of I'll say, like, just to give you a point of reference, some Cirque du Soleil type ish
Yeah.
feel to them, like definitely some acrobats and sword swallowers and fire and jugglers and all that, but really, insane. Although the one, I got to be honest, they were like, you're in here for the next 55 minutes, you can't leave. And I just had 8 Captain and Diet Cokes. I'm gonna need to go to the bathroom, and I could not go. So I
What
did
show was it?
Dual Reality.
Oh, I have
Yeah,
not seen Dual Reality.
oh, that was so good. But they like, clearly they use, all of the performers use the main stage there, and the stage is somewhat in the round. I'm using the wrong. It's not round, but
Yeah.
you're very immersed in it, right?
Yeah.
So, and like you mentioned drag queens, right? Right. There's a drag queen bingo, right? So again, this might not be for everybody, but it's definitely very inclusive. So, definitely groups of people feel very comfortable going on to Virgin.
Mhm.
Drag queen bingo, we lost. I was angry, and they only had it once on my last cruise, which I was also angry about, because you can always find me in the casino, or
Well, that's the thing. You had the casino where like you and I go on Disney Cruise Line and they have to have bingo every day because they don't have a casino and they need to train those children at a young age to gamble.
I think that's a wonderful idea. As my kids, as my own children, yeah, we need to be at bingo on the Disney cruise for sure. But
Yeah.
honestly, it was huge pots. I think that we played 4 games. The first one started, I think, around $800, and the last one was like $3,200. The third one was 2,500, and then I think the second one was 1,600. So
Wow.
huge pots to possibly win, right?
Yeah. Was it a full room? Like, were there a lot of people?
Full, completely full. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
that's one of those things. I mean, again, I think of Disney Cruise Line and bingo, and you have to be there an hour early if you want to play bingo because it's in a tiny room
It
and
sells
there's not
out.
enough seating and you're like standing room only and they run out of the little machines and you only have paper options. Like it's
I will
cutthroat.
say, on the Wish, the venue that's on the Wish does provide a little bit more space, but it's still like, get there early, get all the things, right?
Yeah. Where
Um,
for Virgin, it's in the main stage, like it's in the main
yes,
room,
correct,
right?
correct.
So there's a lot more space to fill, which explains why the pot is so much bigger because you've probably got 3 or 4 times as many people that you would have on
Right,
a standard
right.
like Disney bingo.
And I love, yeah,
Yeah.
love a big pot.
Yeah. There are, I mean, okay, so just talking about shows real quick. Most of the shows are included in your fare. Almost everything. That's one great thing. I mean, we're going to talk about food because the food's the best part in my opinion. But there's one show that I've seen, and that was on my Greek cruise, and it's called Another Rose. And it was an upcharge. However, that upcharge included drinks and a like multi-course meal. And without a doubt, it was the best show that I've ever seen in my life on a ship or off. Really great show. It's like super immersive. We literally had people running over our table to get from place to place throughout the show. Like it was really cool. But I think it was like $60 a person upcharge. But again, giving you champagne throughout the entire night as much as you want. There's every course had a drink with it, I believe. They also had non-alcoholic options, which was great. So other than that, all the shows are included. There's just usually one like supper club type of option.
We did have something called the Ship Show, which was like a variety show, kind of old school, like the 50s, 60s vibe.
Yeah.
And that was fun. That did include dinner, and there was no additional charge for that. The dinner was okay, right? Because the food is
Yeah.
so good. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the dinner there was okay, but the entertainment was really, really enjoyable. You would actually, the host was like, "Who has kids?" And then the one woman's like, I have fur baby. And the host was like, "Ma'am, shut up." I did enjoy that.
My cats are my children.
I know
Okay.
we have four-legged fur
I
babies,
feel
but
like in true millennial fashion, I can't
oh boy,
afford children. I don't
no,
know how you have
no,
two.
literally no one can. No one can afford children.
You guys didn't mean to have two.
No,
That just happened.
that
Chris
bitch,
has twins.
that bitch
So
egg just split. We're grateful. We are grateful, but holy moly, that was a lot of therapy. Uh, so
let's talk about food.
let's talk about,
I've
well,
just,
before
it's
you
my
jump into
favorite part.
that though, that you made a really good point about things that are included, right? Like internet.
Yeah.
Gratuities aren't included, right? You don't have to,
Mhm.
when you go to the bar and you order a drink, it's boom, you don't have to add gratuities, not for your room host, right? All of those things that are, again, they um, sort of judo flip the standard, like the regular cruise, right? And do it completely different in terms of what you're normally used to if you're a frequent cruiser. But the
Yeah.
food is the best part. Why?
It really
Because
is.
they have no huge main dining room, right? Speaking of doing a little judo flip with the food, there's no main dining room. It's all made to order, fresh, amazing options, right? So I think my favorite that I still dream about is Gunbei.
I do love gumbe. Gumbe is a Korean barbecue. The nice thing is, your server is the one actually grilling it up for you. If you've ever been to Korean barbecue, they literally just like drop off all the raw meat and are like, good luck. And I personally don't really love cooking my own food. So, especially when I go to a restaurant. So it's nice. It's really good. I will say the one caveat about gumbe is that if you are in a small group, you will be seated with other people. And when I travel with my boyfriend. He and I, every time we've gone to Gunbay, have had 4 other people with us. I believe that most tables seat 6. They've been nice people. We've encountered them. We usually do Gunbay on our first night so that we can like see if we can meet new people and like maybe we make friends and then we see them throughout the rest of the time we're on the ship and it's great. But if you don't like other people, which that's me, I don't like other people, then it can be an awkward dinner. The last time that we went, we had a couple next to us that we really enjoyed, and we had another couple next to us that I would have loved to have never seen again. And then days later, they sat next to us at Pink Agave for dinner, and I didn't know what to do. So, something to keep in mind with gumbe, but the
Yes,
food was
but
delicious.
the pork belly and the short ribs, that still think of them. I mean, plus, but it is fun when you have that group because they play games, right? There's some drinking
Yeah.
games that they play, and just keeps it engaging. They have the test kitchen,
Okay,
right?
how do you feel about Test Kitchen, Chris? I
Um,
need your honest opinion.
I look, I've already paid for everything, right? So did I
Yeah.
go eat a pizza after that? Sure did.
Right.
But
Yep.
I enjoy, I love, I'll do anything once, I'll try anything once, do anything once. And I enjoyed that, right? But when the corn came out as like corn custard and like in the shape of corn, but it wasn't actual corn, or
Yeah.
the asparagus soft serve. Uh,
Yeah.
but again, nothing I would ever normally order. So I was excited to try it. How do you feel?
Um, I'm a I don't like to say I'm a picky eater, but I'm a particular eater. So I can like usually find something to eat at a restaurant, but like I don't like all kinds of food. Um, Test Kitchen was a one and done for me. I was pleasantly surprised by things. There are 2 different menus at Test Kitchen depending on how long your cruise is. So that's something to keep in mind. And you can actually go ask Test Kitchen like what their rotation looks like. So if you've had one menu and you don't want to have that again, you can potentially have the second menu. The one that I had like the mushroom like souffle type of thing, which I was pleasantly surprised by. But yeah, it was a one and done for me. We actually ended up eating there with some friends that we made on this was on our first cruise. We didn't eat there on our second cruise. But we ate with some other friends and they really liked it. So I think that if you're an adventurous enough eater, it's worth checking out. And worst case, you don't like it, you can always go get pizza, because the pizza on the ship is without a doubt one of my favorite things to eat.
It's so good, and it's made to order, right? So you go there, you do have to wait about 15 minutes, but they're going to make that completely for you, get your own personal pizza, and it's also open till like 2 a.m., right? So
I think it's one of the latest outside of the galley, which is like their version of not a buffet. I think that the pizza place is open the latest.
I think I love that whole area of what they have for like after the ship they have the dock, which has all these Mediterranean options, right? And then a little bit
I love the
you
top.
pass the social club, which has really good soft pretzels, and I'm from Philly, so the soft pretzel, right, like that. But that was one of the best I've ever had. And then
They do boozy milkshakes at the social
they
club.
do boozy milkshakes with
Mhm.
champagne, right?
Yeah.
They have wings. They had the candy we mentioned earlier. They had hot dogs. I'm not going to eat a hot dog, but they have all different kinds of hot dogs, right? That's also, by the way, next to the arcade where all the games are free. So did I get my jam on with Super Mario Brothers? Sure did.
Yeah.
And then the pizza, and then what do people think about when they go on a cruise? They think about just the all inclusive soft serve ice cream, right? So
Right.
on Virgin, again, they're doing a little bit different, a little bit better. They're going to have gelato. What is the name of the gelato location, Kayla?
And it's Lick Me Till I Scream, which is Chris's favorite name for a place ever, I'm sure.
It is. It's a good one. I mean, that is
Yeah.
a classic. That's what she said, right? So it is, again, just kind of bending a little bit more of the playing into the adult only, the vibe there. But right, so now you have incredible gelato to choose from. That's open for a fair amount of the day as well. You can get that and then hit the pizza place. So, I think just those quick options that are so good. And again, not you couldn't have soft pretzels on some of the other cruises with children because that's all they would eat, right? But I usually wash that down. That was like before lunch and before dinner meal, and then an after dinner meal, right?
That was my pizza. Pizza
Yeah,
for me was like the in between meals. I'll just go get a pizza. Because
yeah,
they're like, if you've ever been to like Mod or Blaze, like those I call them like the subway of pizza, right? Where like you go in, you tell them what toppings you
expensive.
want to put it.
That's
I know.
expensive. Those
I was gonna
places
say the
are tough.
Chipotle of pizza, but I don't want people to think about Chipotle. I don't like Chipotle. So but it's that sort of style. So like it's a very thin crust. It's really easy to eat a whole pizza. But I love going to the dock and getting their goat cheese polenta. Oh
Ooh.
my gosh.
The lamb sausage, which sounds disgusting, was so good there.
It's
Um, but
phenomenal food.
we said no buffets and no main dining room. I don't think we said no buffets, but no buffets. So what do they have there? And Kayla mentioned the galley,
Yeah.
which is a really interesting take on the standard cruise buffet. So they have different stations set up that you can order from, and then your food is made and ready to go, right? So things like tacos or an Asian cart. They have sushi, right? Come on.
You grab and go sushi. It's
They
great.
have grab and go things also throughout the ship, right? You could get a charcuterie board
Yeah.
to grab and go in multiple locations, right? Sign me up right now. And then I do have one confession that I still think
Of course you do.
about.
Can you tell that Chris loves food? I mean,
I
so do I, but
I love food, but and I'm a cheap date. I'm really easy to please. Like I wouldn't say I'm a foodie at all. I'll but um their breakfast sandwich there, and it was so simple, but it was made on an English muffin that was like extra crispy,
okay.
and they had an egg, they had sausage, link sausage that they had cut in half so that it laid more flat,
Mm-hmm.
Gruyere cheese, and then a special sauce that I don't even know, but it was so good. I'm gonna need that right now.
Okay, but have you had, speaking of breakfast at the galley, have you had the French toast burger?
No. I took pictures of it. It looked incredibly good, but
It's phenomenal.
your mouth can fit around that.
Yeah, it was so good. I ate it with a I ate it with a fork and a knife
Okay.
because
Yeah, it would have been offensive to eat the other.
it's yeah, it's a big sandwich. But if you like a Monte Cristo, this is for you,
Mm,
without a doubt. I wasn't too sure about it at first. I was like, ground beef with French toast. I'm not sure. It's delicious. I have no regrets. But okay, one last food thing for me. The best steak that I've ever had in my entire life was at Pink Agave. They have a ribeye that they put some cheese on top of, and I don't know what kind of cheese it is. It's so good. Um, Without a doubt, best steak I've probably ever had in my life. And I realize I'm saying that about a lot of things, but Virgin is it's amazing. Again, I'm biased because it's adults only and like sold. I also think that Richard Branson is just like one of the smartest people in the world in terms of like the things that he's done, including Virgin Voyages. But Pink Agave, I'm not a tequila or mezcal girl, but they've got I think the largest tequila and mezcal collection at sea at Pink Agave, which is cool. My boyfriend Brian loves tequila and mezcal. Um, One thing that we didn't touch on, actually, talking about tequila and mezcal, is that another way that Virgin is different from other cruise lines is that they don't have necessarily a drink package. They have what they call a bar tab. So you can pre-purchase a set amount of bar tab, and then Virgin will sometimes run promotions where they'll give you an extra like $50 or $100, or depending on when you're booking, sometimes they'll also just include a bar tab for free. So you're still paying per drink in the way that you would if you were on land. There's not a specific package of like you can have however much you want to drink of whatever you want. That being said, the prices are actually really reasonable. I want to say it's like $8 for a glass of beer, like a pint, or like between like 12 and 15 for a cocktail.
yeah, I think they were definitely a little bit higher this cruise than they were last cruise. I mean, I'm not surprised by that,
Yeah,
uh,
inflation.
but my captain and diets were generally $10.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
So that's something to keep in mind. If you don't drink, because like I'm a person that I don't drink a lot, I'll drink sometimes. So it was nice to not feel like, oh, I have to be roped into buying this drink package because my boyfriend drinks more than I do. Like he really enjoys, especially on like a cruise where you're like hanging out with people, meeting people at the bar and like doing social activities,
Dealing with you,
dealing with me. Yeah, I'm probably what really drives him to drink, honestly.
I not no one's
Chris
surprised
has to drink when he's around me, so
too. I do.
it's
I get
just who
stressed
I
out.
am.
You stress
Chris
me.
also tries to force drinks on me when he's around me.
What
It's
the
fine.
hell? Um,
Is
so
that not true?
well,
You said you're gonna drink this beer, and I was like, I'm okay, I don't really want it. And you're like, no, I got you the beer, you're gonna drink it.
I probably called you a few names too.
Probably.
Um, so the but I what the staterooms there, right? So I do the Sea Terrace, which is the name of their balcony rooms. They mostly all have that famous red hammock on there, which is incredible. But you've stayed in a Rockstar suite, so talk to us a
Wow.
little bit more about that.
It was amazing. Okay, so if you listened to last episode, we were talking about Adventures by Disney and how it feels like having a fast pass in like real life. And being a rock star, I sort of felt that same way. Like you get a different color wristband than everybody else, so everyone knows that you're a rock star because you have a blue wristband instead of a red one. You also have access to a special area at on the top of the ship, like up at the front, which is really cool, called Richard's Rooftop, and only rock stars can go there. And it's basically like um there's like two hot tubs, there's a bar, there's a bunch of seating. You can also like order food there, which is one of the only places like outside. I think it might be the only place outside that you can like sit and order food on the ship, I guess, other than the dock. um but you also, depending on this, there's two different tiers of Rockstar. So we were in a suite aft suite, which means we were along the back side of the ship. And we were in a regular Rockstar suite, which meant that we had a bar that was stocked for us one time, and it had mixers, it had whatever alcohol we wanted. Like we were able to swap out some things that we knew we wouldn't drink. Um, if you don't drink, they'll swap it out for non-alcoholic options for you, which is really great. And then if you are a mega rock star, you actually have essentially like unlimited bar tab. You just can buy whatever you want, whenever you want, um, which is really great. You also have a dedicated rock star agent who will check on you every day, make sure you have everything you want and need. So like in the Rockstar suites, they put a record player in the Rockstar suite. And it used to be that you could pick the albums, but you can't anymore. You're just sort of like stuck with what you've got. And we didn't like what we had. So they brought us an aux cord for the speakers so we could at least plug in our phone, which was really nice. Um, it's just an elevated experience. So like the Sea Terrace rooms have the beds there are technically two twins that are pushed together, which is great because if you're traveling with friends, you can split them apart. So I'm assuming, Chris, that's what you did on your last trip. Where the Rockstar Suite has a big plush king size bed that is just, in my opinion, so much more comfortable than the Sea Terrace beds. The Sea Terrace beds for me were a little too hard. I don't like a super firm bed. But I've been told that you can like add like a mattress cover or something to them, I think.
Like an egg crate or something.
Yeah. But the Rockstar Suite, like honestly, I felt like a VIP the whole entire time that I was on the ship. It was great.
You definitely, yes. And you got to board early,
Mhm.
right? And there's
And we
definitely
got to tender first too. If you were at a tender port, you
nice.
got like priority, which was nice.
And you don't, the one thing though that's a little bit different with Virgin versus other cruise lines in terms of like that concierge club level access, which is the Rockstar here, is that they don't have the standard rooms with that label on it, right? They are
Right.
literally completely different room configurations and locations. So,
Yeah.
um, which I think is really just, again, it takes it to another level, right?
Yeah. The suites are really cool too. So like our suite had a porthole in our bathroom that looked out over our deck because we were in a even bigger terrace. So our terrace was, I think, like almost the same size as our room,
Wow.
which was amazing. It looked right over the dock, like smack in the middle of the back of the ship. It was phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to
I
come. I'm gonna need to be in that next time.
It's hard to go back. It's sort of like flying first class. Like once you do
Yeah,
it, it's really hard not to do it.
I know. I'm on a flight later with my family and today actually, and I was hoping I got upgraded, but I don't think it's going to happen. Just leave their asses behind.
I'm sure that your wife would love that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So where are they going? We talked, obviously Kayla's been on the Mediterranean sailing. They have sailings out of Miami. They soon will have, or they have now, actually just arriving into
Yeah.
Australia, the third ship arriving into Australia to do some Australia itineraries.
Mhm.
And then a fourth ship coming in the future that I believe actually will have a Puerto Rico home port.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, they call them the lady ships because we have the Scarlet Lady, the Valiant Lady, the Resilient Lady, and then the Brilliant Lady, the four ships that will either exist or are coming. So it's just, again, it's very different. And they don't have a private island, but they on Bimini, which is an island in the Bahamas, very actually probably the most western, closest to Florida, Bahamian island. They have a beach club there, a private beach club, which is really all you ever need. It has two huge pools, has all the lounge chairs and umbrellas you need on the beach. They have DJs, bars, the food's included. And again, it's not the standard islandy food. It's definitely an elevated experience, right? That you're
So
getting
good.
better food than other private islands.
Yeah.
So
There's one other thing that we didn't talk about that I think is really important. And you're talking about Bimini, and it's
I
making
thought you
me
were going
think
to
of
talk
that.
about the black box that you can buy.
The black box. What?
The
What are
black
you
box
talking
that
about?
you can buy from Sailor Services.
Oh, oh. No, I'm not talking about the sex toys, Chris. I was like, what are you talking? I don't even know what you're talking about. No, I was going to mention the Happenings cast, which
Ah,
is another thing that Virgin does very differently than other ships. So most ships have like a cruise director and like staff underneath that cruise director, and they're leading activities and very cheerful, and I don't know, they're it's just a very particular vibe, right, of like the cruise staff. And Virgin instead has what they call the Happenings cast. So you've got your gamer, your foodie, your hostess, who is usually a phenomenal singer and performer. You've got your balancer. I can't even. I'm not going to remember all the names.
Glow, the diva is the
Um,
drag queen,
the
right?
diva, yep.
Um,
And
yeah,
they're all different. They're all essentially in charge of different things. So like the foodie is going to be in charge of your mixology class, and there's another class that you can take where you're like taking pictures of food that you create. The gamer is in charge of a lot of like trivia. There's like karaoke. So there's just like a variety of different people. They all have amazing personalities. I personally am still I'm friends with some of the Happenings cast on both ships that I've been on. They're really just like outstanding people, and they're encouraged to be their authentic self. And I think that that is one of the most refreshing things about Virgin, is that everybody gets to be themselves. It's not just the sailors that come on the ship. The crew is also getting to just have their hair dyed, have their tattoos, like
right.
be openly queer and not have to like hide that. And it's just so refreshing compared to other cruise lines.
And the other piece there too is they're out and about so frequently, right? Like they may be sitting in the galley, even just not even just the Happenings cast, but any of the crew might just be out sitting in the galley having lunch at the table next to you, right? So
Mhm.
um really an interesting take. So let's really quick wrap up and just talk about price point, because you know it's like, well, what does this even cost, right?
Yeah.
If we're just gonna go, how much is this gonna cost?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just go. How much are we paying? So I was on the Mermaiden voyage of Resilient Lady for the Greek Island Glow. That is hard to say. Itinerary, which was 7 days throughout Greece, started and ended in Athens, and we paid just under $6,000 for our Rockstar Suite. And that wasn't the lowest. I don't believe that's the lowest level of Rockstar Suite. I think there's ones lower than mine. I want to say that it was like 2 or 3 thousand for a sea terrace on that same ship.
which is
Um,
which is great because I've been on the 5 nights, which you can get a sea terrace for about 2,500 to 3,000, and they often run promotions, right, where they're going to have like 600 $300 or $600 bar tabs, or sailor loot, which is is their name for onboard credit to use. So lots of definite like great options to make it pretty reasonable, right,
yeah,
as a way to just go.
yeah. But they are, I mean, the one caveat with all cruise lines is it is dynamic pricing. So your best deal is probably going to be when they first release those itineraries. The closer you get to sailing is the more expensive it's probably going to be, depending on how popular that particular sailing is. So, that's the caveat there. We're like, we booked our Greek Island Glow as soon as it was announced. And it wasn't supposed to be the Mermaiden when we booked it, but they
Right.
ended up
Well, and
becoming the
that's
Mermaiden.
right. We always say that, right? When's the best time to book the cruise? Today, because
Yeah.
just like airfare prices, it's likely going to go up as demand increases, price will as well, and
Yeah.
availability decreases. So yeah, I mean, it's not that to say that we don't love other cruise lines. I myself have been on 2 Disney cruises and a Royal Caribbean cruise this year alone, right? And you've been on all those cruise lines as well as Norwegian, and
Yeah.
um, so it's not to say that we don't, they just do it differently. And you have, as Kayla said, it's not for everyone. It's not always what you're looking for, exactly that experience. But if you are looking for a relaxing experience to connect with a significant other or just hang out with friends, there was definitely groups. There was 40-year-old birthday party groups on my most recent cruise.
Yeah.
This is the place to do it and just go and be
Mhm.
yourself and have a kick-ass time.
Yeah. I agree.
The calories are free at sea. That's my
That's true, especially if you're on the treadmill or walking on the windy track.
Yeah. Well, I ate 18 pizzas in 2 days. So
I mean, you have to. If you don't eat that many pizzas and pretzels, you're doing it wrong.
right, you got to get your money's worth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I, Chris isn't speaking for me. Virgin is my favorite cruise line, and I will say that because again, it's the only adults only cruise line out there. And it's just like such a good vibe. I'm a millennial and I love that I feel at home on a Virgin cruise versus again like cruise lines that are full of children or full of older people. I like that I can just chill. It's nice.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Well, yeah, I mean, as always, please subscribe, download, reach out to us. We'd love to hear, what you would like to hear us talking about. Chris and I could talk for hours about anything travel related, honestly. I mean, this episode, I think, went much longer than either of us probably anticipated because we were so excited to talk about Virgin. And we will probably have other episodes talking about Virgin. But we really appreciate you listening. I'm so glad that you're not sick of us yet. And
let's just go.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was really bad. Brian, you should cut that out. That's the thing. That's the thing about recording is we can just tell them to cut stuff out.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for subscribing, downloading, connecting with us. We look forward to the next episode. And until then, let's just go.
That's right. Thanks, everyone.
We did it. Yay.